Evening, everybody. Back on Zoom. Gift that just keeps on giving. But, it was a good scrimmage tonight. We got probably a little over 100 plays. A lot of different guys, personnel, groupings, offensively, defensively. I thought the defense came out, started extremely strong. In the scrimmage, you saw guys flying around, playing fast, making plays. Offense, I thought, responded well as it continued to go through, but we have to continue to push our tempo offensively. That's something in a first scrimmage, coaches are off the field playing it like a game, and definitely something that we got to get better at. Like I said, we're being able to see a lot of different guys. You'll get some guys getting their first reps here at Florida State, and I thought it was a really good evaluation. We had some good plays of guys, breaking tackles. Jaheim Bell had a really, really impressive kind of sequence of making guys miss. As we obviously you've seen it on film, but to be able to see him, be live and in person was definitely impressive. I thought defensively, defensive front did a really good job of working to create pressure. Trying to. I thought our fits in the run game were good for the most part. Did have a couple missed tackles out on the perimeter. Things that we got to get back better at. I thought we got some really good special teams work in that evaluation. Made that transition. A year ago to really get more live work. In our scrimmages, just to see all four units. And there were some things that were really good, and obviously some things that we're gonna have to clean up. But kind of give a good baseline of where we are at this moment. Heading into this week, there's going to be there's always going to be movement after a scrimmage. It was our ninth practice. Guys are showing up, and the thing that we're looking for is just the consistency. And a lot of talented players, newcomers, guys that are pushing for spots and opportunities. But we got to see the consistency, in the execution. And so. I thought, like I said, all in all, it was a good day. I was really proud of the defense. We had, can't remember first, second group, got down to the 1 yard line, had a big fourth down stand, on the goal line. It was something that we really emphasized, just the mentality. If we ever find ourselves down in that situation, and I thought they rose to the occasion, and the next drive. The offense got back down there, was able to punch it in. Obviously need to do that each time. But to see the give and take on both sides of the ball. Quarterbacks, get to go back and really watch more of it. Anytime you run multiple guys. I thought there was some good things. From each one of them. I had a couple of them go live, for a handful of series, and it was good to see them have to go out and operate. But all in all, I thought it was a productive night. And, a lot of good film to be able to correct on tomorrow and work to get better here this week.
Coach, first question will be Irish Phil.
I know you guys compete a good bit. You compete a lot in practice, but not always necessarily like putting together drives and kind of worrying so much about the result of a drive or scoring or not scoring. Do you see some of does competition raise to an even higher level in these kind of settings compared to a normal practice?
It has to. And, ultimately that's now you want to see the application of situation, and where, a coach can, we'll work some series during practice, and try to force that, but understanding the situation that you're in throughout the course of the series. Rather than saying, hey, we're working third downs here. Now it's as a drive's going on, you got to be able to play the game, throughout in those situations. And that was something that I thought was good for our guys. There was some, like I said, that's part of the the urgency of what we need to improve on. Just in our tempo of understanding the situations. And then obviously being able to tackle. That's we had everybody rolling, and we didn't have many guys that were in tag mode. I thought it was good to see running backs were running hard. They were trying to fight for the extra yards, seeing guys have to go to the ground, and then some guys that were very difficult to get to the ground. So I thought that was a good part of what we were able to do. And it's a good I guess, a foundational level of seeing the first live action for some of these guys, just where they are and things they need to improve on. So, it was definitely a raised intensity, and it needs to be anytime, especially going inside Doak Campbell.
The Brennan Snow.
And Mike, I'm curious to get your thoughts on how Brock Glenn performed today, and I figure it was 20-something practices now for him in his career. Just because how has he progressed in that span since he got to campus?
And he's a very impressive freshman. Just his maturity. Even I know we talked about it in the spring where the moment never seems too big for him, and he was live for some series tonight and did some good things. I mean, I thought he handled the good and responded to the negative plays. I mean, because he had some of those too, and but he's always listening, always trying to learn, trying to apply. But he's an instinctual player, and I thought he did a great job. Throughout the course of the evening. And like I said, I got to go back and watch all of it to give you kind of a full breakdown of it. But I mean, he definitely doesn't act like a freshman, and for what we thought we were getting, I mean, he's probably further along than. We knew we were getting a really good quarterback, but just his mental maturity and the way that grasps so many things offensively, just his presence out there is really good.
The Kurt Weiler.
Hey, Mike, we've seen a lot of the freshman DBs come in and really make some plays, handle themselves well out on the practice field. How did you see that translate over into tonight?
That was good. Those guys, it's a very competitive group, and I mean they're talented. They've got great athleticism. Playmaking skills. I mean, tonight, don't believe we had any takeaways tonight. As a defense, which is something that offensively been harping on us. So it was a good thing for the offense, but something defensively we want to make make those impactful plays. But our guys, I mean, they were sticky in their coverage. I think you see those guys trying to communicate better. They're in the right position for most of the night. There's some opportunities on tackles that we got to be a little cleaner on, which is what we needed to see from exactly where those guys are. But I mean, it's an impressive group. So I think they're continuing to play at a high level, especially for being young freshmen. And I think a lot of those guys have an opportunity to contribute here this year at some point.
So the from Fast Democrat.
Yeah, Coach. We got to see Keon Cole and Kyra Morlock and some of the new transfers get more acclimated to the FSU practices. How was their first live action?
It was good. I mean, you've seen we've got a pretty good sense in 8 practices before this. In the last 8 practices, who those guys are. Obviously, Kyle was here in the spring. I thought Kyle had a great night tonight. Made some tough catches. It really did some good things for us. I think he's going to be a great weapon. I think that newcomer group, especially the offense, some of the offensive skill guys, really are going to help what we're able to do, and just get a lot of playmakers, guys that are learning the offense. They're very smart players, so it's going to be able to give us quite a bit of versatility in how we want to attack, and they're continuing to get better. I mean, this is going to be a huge week ahead for our football team, especially for all those guys. To look back at the last 9 practices, and then we got to have a great week in our progression as we continue to move forward.
So the Chris Lee.
Hey, Mike, the offensive line, how did they do this evening? And also, as you turn towards the 10th practice on Tuesday, how much do you start working towards figuring out your starting 5, the next group, kind of how they're going to fit together as a group?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all, as we get through this next week, we're still going to probably work to mix and match. I usually like getting, 2 weeks of a pretty good sense of what that first 5 is going to be. We've got a lot of competition, guys that we've had a couple of guys that have been out who are very limited, in what we're doing. That, they practice early, if you've got some good work in, you're trying to do a little bit of maintenance with them, and then, we'll get them back here this week. So, I think the O-line did a solid job tonight. Once again, I got to go and watch the film, but I thought, their overall understanding of what we're asking them to do is really good. You know, we've got to continue to work the fundamentals and just the finer details versus different looks, and you know, making sure that we do have 5 guys playing as one, and you know, being able to take as much pressure off of you know, guys around them by just executing our jobs. And I have been pleased with that group, and I thought tonight was some solid work, but you know, there's some details and fundamental things that we're going to have to get better at. And you know, we'll still, like I said, we'll mix and match this week, but I know we're going to get a couple guys back that you know, really be able to kind of put on display that full group, and you know, we'll move forward as we get through that second scrimmage.
Go back to Ira.
Since Trey and LT have played so much college football, did you focus a little bit more on the other running backs? And either way, how did those guys do?
No, I mean, they were limited in their rep count, you know, because of just the overall experience. But you know, I thought Rodney Hill did some really good things. You know, Keziah Holmes, I mean, had a couple of really big plays. I mean, he got an open field. You see his speed, his toughness, physicality. You caught the ball out of the backfield as well. I thought he really showed up well today. CJ Campbell had a couple of nice plays as well. So you know, it's I feel good about that running back room, and you know, we've got you know 5 guys that I feel are very, very capable. You know, bringing along Sam Singleton. You know, he was limited tonight, but you've got to get him back rolling, and you'll be able to keep evaluating to see where he's going to be. A very talented young man, but you know, I feel good about that running back room, and you know, we wanted to get them some good work tonight, and I thought they showed up well.
Back to Kurt Weiler.
You talked about the defensive front's impact and the goal line stand. I guess who at first glance watching it live from that defensive line group flashed at you tonight?
No, I mean, it was collective. I mean, Josh Farmer, I think has had a really good camp. You had a couple of really nice plays there early. You know, I think Pat Payton's had he was had him on a number count today, because really wanted to see Gilbert and you know, Byron get out there and play. And you know, I thought those guys, you know, both flashed you know, really solid. I think that interior defensive tackle group you know, has got a chance to be a great strength. And you know, as they get out there and roll, I think we're going to keep guys fresh. I think that we got some very impactful players that you know. But once again, when you get down into the core of the trenches, you know, it's one thing is go back and watch film and see just the consistency of that execution. But it definitely some great flashes.
Back to Chris Neat.
I'm going to go with a good old 2-parter here. First, you said special teams was live. What have you learned about punt return for you guys? And secondly, I think this scrimmage last year, you guys got pretty banged up in it, if I recall. How did you come out tonight initially feeling about the health of the team?
No, it was good. I mean, there's a couple guys that you know, I don't think anything serious, but I mean, just you know, a couple things you know, that showed up, but I don't think those would be very extensive. But definitely much better night tonight than we were a year ago, and so it was good to overall health. And then, you know, with the punt returner, you know, really Keon Coleman's getting a lot of work back there. I think I think there's, you know, one ball, just a judgment that you got to continue to emphasize and work. You know, Preston Hill, you know, got good work. I think he was pretty clean tonight. You know, Vendravius got back there a little bit. So we had LT, you know, was clean in what he did. So continuing to work a lot of those guys. I mean, very. You know, some guys that are explosive players, but also got to have really good hands, just working the decision-making process, you know, as we continue to roll through it. But I feel very confident in what that group's going to be.
Go back to Kurt.
Staying on special teams, we've asked a lot about the kickers. I think they've both been good in practice. You talk about valuing everybody, kind of what they show you in the scrimmage, maybe more than a practice. Does that apply even maybe to another level when it comes to a kicker? And how were those guys tonight?
Well, I mean, they were good. I mean, we did a good job on majority of our kicks. So we had a couple, you know, long yardage kicks. I know we missed one. It was, you know, over 50, but you know, it was, you know, those guys have competed, and I think the competition is making both of them better. I think they're you know, they're continuing to push each other, and you know, we're charting all things. And so you know, I think we're in a really good situation. You know, at our kicker and you obviously with their kickoffs, I think they're very talented with that too. So just how they're operating and working together.
All right, last one, we'll go to Ira.
There was a decent number of guys that this was their first chance to really play a scrimmage situation inside Doak. Anything stand out, positive or negatively about how those guys handled that first time?
I thought they all came. They came and worked. It was there was excitement for throughout the course of the day. You always want there to be energy. But one of the things I really liked throughout the scrimmage was the sidelines, and whether it's you're working 3 different groups, getting reps, and even when it was the 2s or the 3s. You got look at our defensive sideline. You got Kalen DeLoach is out there. And there's so many guys defensively, but guys encouraging. You listen on the offensive sideline, even when there was maybe a negative play, just the guys are trying to pick up each other. They're trying to help understand what that needs to be on game day. But yeah, anytime you get to step into Campbell at night, it's going to be pretty special. And so it's good for guys to be able to get that moment. And I know there's probably some nerves for some of them, but once you get out there and start playing ball, it's those have to go away, and then it comes down to the execution. So like I said, it was a needed first scrimmage. It was time. Our guys have been practicing their butt off for 8 practices, and we needed tonight to see really where we are and the big area of focus of improvement. And we know that with our tempo, with our the details of execution, those things are big factors that we're going to have to get better at here this week. And our guys will take note and work to improve that and be back out there on the field on Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you guys. Y'all have a great night.